Mariko Tamaki and Ivan Reyes continue to expand their Arkham Tower mystery as Batwoman goes undercover to find out where the street drugs are coming from and to free Huntress from the asylum. Mariko Tamaki continues the Shadow of the Bat event series with another really awesome issue that builds on and expands the mysteries she set up so far, all by confirming that the people behind the tower are up to no good. The most interesting thing about this issue was Huntress's role, as it looks like she actually is a patient within the tower, and not only that, one that wants to stay. She's not undercover like I assumed she would be, she's a literal legit patient. I'm very much looking forward to Tamaki revealing how she wound up in there, and I have a feeling that it has to do with Huntress's time under Vile's control and her battling the parasite monster with Batman in some of the previously written Tamaki issues of Detective Comics. The book also explores Kate's relationship with some of the inmates, being that they are the ones she has taken down at one time or another, and it's interesting to see all of the ones she runs into were cold-blooded murderers who gleefully did what they did, but now they're all calmed and completely different people. It adds to the mystery as well as the conflict some of these characters are feeling in that the tower seems to be working for these patients and making up for where Arkham Asylum failed, so they have this sort of internal struggle of it's doing good but there is something shady going on there, but what do we exactly do with it? Ivan Reyes continues the series with his fantastic looking artwork, and I love the later pages of the book where Kate got back into her Batwoman costume and infiltrated the tower. The action sequence he did with her in the smoke was just thrilling to look at and was filled with some great detail. Detective Comics issue 1049 continues to build on Arkham Tower's mystery, revealing more key players in the story as well as some surprising developments for certain characters like Huntress. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Detective Comics issue 1049 finds Anna in a session with Dr. Meridian, talking about her life, but the therapist thinks that she is mistaking it with some type of violent horror film. Anna explains how in the old house she went into the basement, which was filled with corpses. Chase asks how did this make her feel, and Anna knows the therapist always asks that, but the woman doesn't feel anything. Soon Anna's session ends and she is taken away by a rather handsy nurse named Mark. Batwoman meanwhile gets ready to go back undercover as Dr. Frau, who checks in at the Arkham Tower, gathering her access card for the 4th floor all the way down to the basement, learning that she is on probation. She asks where Dr. Ocean is, learning that he's on the top floor and she doesn't have access to that yet. Chase comes by to meet her, asking Lisa to join her for a cup of coffee. Kate uses this opportunity to get information out of Chase and how the patient progress is. Chase thinks that it's remarkable, and whatever treatment Dr. Ocean is giving these patients, it seems to be working really well, and they don't want to be confident that the treatment is truly effective. Lisa knows that Arkham and Weir are lucky to have her, leaving for her first shift. Chase stays behind, quietly telling herself to stop spilling her guts to anyone. Kate goes to her first undercover shift, shown the arts and crafts room, and surprised to see the patients with scissors and sharp objects. The other nurse that she is with talks about how her uncle worked at Arkham before A-Day, and he couldn't believe how the patients are being treated in the tower now, pointing out Siphon and the recent news story about him. Siphon talks about the movie Serpico as the doctor tells Lisa that they aren't allowed to talk about violent movies and TV shows, which is a new thing from Dr. Weir, however the patients still do. Lisa goes to see Siphon, who is cutting out body outlines in red paper. He asks for more paper as Kate remembers years ago when her and Batman track down Siphon, finding a warehouse full of corpses as the villain shoots at them from the roof. Batman fires his grappler at the villain, allowing them to capture him, as in the present, Kate is brought out of her head by Siphon asking for some more glue. Anna asks to go back to her room, escorted by the handsy nurse from before, so Lisa asks who that is, learning that it's Mark Barbier, a maintenance man. Lisa goes after him, telling Mark she insists on taking Anna back to her room herself. Mark, clearly upset, allows her to take Anna, so Lisa asks if Anna knew him, but Anna didn't, asking if Lisa knows about movies, since she likes thinking about them and knowing that they are there. Lisa takes Anna to her room and is soon called away as up in Weir's office, the doctor tells the party crasher leader that he has had a complaint about Mark, one of her men. He says that they are there to retrieve the product, but that's not all they are doing. The woman says that she could get rid of the complainer, but Weir says they can't have these types of complaints from staff and he cannot have a dead employee on his hands, at least not yet. Crasher says that she'll talk with Mark, wondering if Weir is really worried about Mark messing with a serial killer, but he's not worried about Anna Volcion. He's worried about the $6 million check that Nakano still has to sign for them. Illicit conversation meanwhile is being overheard by Cassandra, who tracks the party crasher as she leaves the tower, planning on following her to the party crasher HQ before sending her plates out to Oracle. Oracle contacts Kate, who has suited up as Batwoman, infiltrating the patient wards and meeting with Helena, who is a patient. Batwoman wants to check Huntress out of the tower, but she refuses to leave and there is no more plan now. An alarm soon rings out since Kate tripped the silent alarm coming into the room. The corridors are swarmed by guards, so Batwoman deploys smoke, fighting through the guards and diving out one of the windows. Kate later gives her briefing to Oracle and the others, telling them that Helena wasn't angry or upset, wishing she had more time to talk to her. She does know that some of the security looked mighty familiar, knowing that one guy looked like someone who used to work for Penguin. Oracle knows that the Crashers all used to work for someone else like Joker, or they were petty crooks. Cassandra knows that there are now 2 Crasher connections to the tower and they just need to trace the drugs now. Nightwing wants to go and get Huntress again, but Batwoman knows that they can't make Helena do anything she doesn't want to. From what she saw, Helena was calm. Dick wants to know how the patients are being kept in line and what is the tower doing that Arkham Asylum wasn't, since the asylum wasn't drugging patients but the tower is, and it seems to be actually working. He knows that it doesn't make any sense and this is either the greatest drug trade cover-up or something worse, and now one of their friends is sitting right in the middle of it. He doesn't want her to be alone in the tower, as in the tower, Helena hears the screams as Anna finds Mark in her cell, telling her that maybe they can think of something to do to help her sleep. The woman, however, violently attacks Mark, confused when the man asks if she's taking her meds. In the nearby rooms, Helena is forced to listen as Anna violently kills Mark, unable to drown out his screams or Anna's rage.